All right. Once again, officially, hello and welcome everybody across the world. Now, we're actually talking about three different time zones. So it's wonderful to have speakers, panelists, and the guests and the participants from all over the world. It's wonderful. Thank you so much, everybody out there. And I hope we can make it very live, very interesting, the entire webinar. This is something that I've been myself looking so forward to with the kind of guests that we've got, the kind of co-speakers I've got, and of course the ever perennial, a lot of feathers in a hat. Kusum ma'am, thank you so much and welcome. Before I welcome the guest, it's wonderful, ma'am. How many awards in a week that you win? Certificates and awards.
So you're addressing that to me?
Absolutely. I don't think I can even compete in the whole year the amount of things you win in a week.
No, no, no. It's not that. It's just that I think the school is doing very well. It's more than what I do. The teachers and what the whole team is doing is what they're getting awarded for. Thank you so much.
No, thank you so much. God bless. You all are amazing. And as we just speak about creativity in classroom, we had Kusum ma'am as one of the speakers last time. We got some lot of ideas creating spaces, and that is what we decided that why not expand it across horizons, across topics, and this is what led us to this conversation. While people are just joining in, the entire idea of this is in the pandemic, perhaps education became more democratic, more transparent, more flat. No, there's a beautiful book that The World is Flat by Thomas Friedman. In fact, a book that has won a lot of awards. And indeed, the world has become flatter. Despite the differences, you don't need visas to invite people on Zoom. I think that's one of the best things that happened. People walk in, we speak to each other, and that is what e-learning has done. So we thought, why not make e-learning the topic that is across that we're speaking about, and everyone is on Zoom. I used to refer now, last year the key word was zombies, zombies now. So we are on Zoom all the time, day and night. My wife calls me the Zoom man. I said, how do we make our education creative? What is that element in creativity? So this is where I said, why not? I think a lot of you read a lot of books. And as always, we begin and invite people. We say, okay, two books. I even recommend before I begin the webinar on creativity is Robin Sharma, this wonderful monk who sold his Ferrari. He's some stunning books. There's a new book that he has called The Little Black Book for Stunning Success and 100 Things Success People Do. One of the things they do is they talk, they listen, and they attend webinars. Well, that is not written in the book for that matter, but this is what we said. Can we become creative? Can we talk to each other? I'm your host, and you will have to bear with me for the next 1 hour. My name is Dawood Vaid. I love horse riding, which unfortunately I could not do so much in a pandemic. I grew up in a small island, Andaman and Nicobar, and that's where I did all my education. As I always say, I fell in love with a city girl. Otherwise, I was very happy to be a town boy. Uh, I read a lot, and I love Avengers for that matter. In fact, we just got a Wonder Woman toy yesterday, and that's what we keep doing. It's an entire collection we've got, and I am a big proponent of SDGs. It's not so much about me, just that I will be interrupting my guests, speaking to all of you, but it's about them. These are three amazing women, three women who are very powerful, three people who have done some amazing, credible work in the field of education, and they will be our speakers, our panelists for today. There's a huge resume that I have to, talk about. And if I start only looking at the credentials, I'll probably take up 45 minutes. I'll not do that. I will introduce them in a while. I'll speak to them. But before even I get to let you know what they are and who they are and what have they done, why don't we say hello to them? So Pragati ma'am, Anish ma'am, and Ann ma'am, hello and welcome. Thank you so much for being part of it. Can I just have a hello from you before we go ahead? So would you like to say Pragati ma'am? Hello to everyone.
Hello, everyone. I'm glad to be a part of this amazing talk today, and I'm waiting to exchange a lot of ideas and learn, because when we exchange the ideas, we can learn better. I have something to give to you, and you may have more than what I have, and so then like a together we can learn together.
Wonderful. I'm sure we all are excited to hear you out, ma'am. So that's wonderful. That's Pragati, ma'am, all the way from Gurgaon. I hope that's right. It's not freezing out there, ma'am.
Still, I'm still in my sweaters and coats, but yes, I enjoy winters, so it's
That's
perfectly fine.
wonderful. Wonderful. Keep your cardigans on. We'll have a lot of questions that we'll ask you. So thank you so much. Can I have my second speaker, Anis Fatima, ma'am, all the way from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia? Hello and welcome, Anis ma'am.
Yeah, hi, I'm Fatima from Saudi Arabia. I was very eagerly looking forward to meet you all and connect you all on this platform. And I believe that today we'll have a very good, connection. We would exchange ideas and we would benefit each other in cultivating creativity in our classrooms. So I really look forward to the talk ahead.
Wonderful, so do we, and very different perspective now. You actually not represent Saudi Arabia, the entire Gulf region, because we can speak to you. I think along with you, we've got a lot of people from different schools. Sandeem ma'am, hello and welcome from Dubai. So if you need a shopping partner, there is this teacher, wonderful teacher, recognized by KHDA. Sandeem ma'am, hello, how are you? Can you say hello to us? Or she's busy? Because Dubai comes in, we just wanted to say hello to you, and so we can send a shopping list to her. And finally, my third speaker for today, and Liao ma'am, thank you so much, Anne. All the way from Taipei, Taiwan. As I said, she's someone with a different time zone. Hello and welcome, Anne.
Hi, thank you so much for having me today. It's really exciting because it's my first time getting to connect with educators, people who are interested in education from other parts of the world. So I'm very excited. I'm from Taipei, Taiwan. It's around dinner time, but I had it earlier. I'm really excited to be here to share ideas with all of you and interested in the conversations to follow.
Wonderful, and thank you so much, all of you. And that was wonderful to see and say hello to everyone. So we actually jump into the core of what we want to speak about. The topic is cultivating creativity in education. Now, all I request is the participants can use your chat, just keep your microphones off, let the speakers have the microphones on, and that I would request the speakers to keep them on. Sometimes we speak up and we somehow, forget that we are in a Zoom meeting. But the participants, keep your microphones off and use your chat, ask us questions. But here is a question I want to begin with all of you, where this is creativity, and I'll be keeping on asking you questions, perhaps sometimes irritating ones also, but let's look at it.
Yeah.
What's the basic need of importance for all of us? Write down, tell me in your chat, speak up and let me know before I ask my speakers. So what are the three most important things you just wrote down, but in the order, right order? Is it Wi-Fi? Our lives depend on that. Is it your health, which is almost like, I have a good health, it's round as a shape I've chosen for myself now? Or is it time? We don't have a lack of it. Okay, I'm getting a lot of answers and responses on the chat. So thank you, Sumaya ma'am and Rabia ma'am and Zainab ma'am. All of you are saying health to begin with. And then it is time. Yes, Sandeep ma'am, we could not hear you. In fact, I addressed you a little earlier. So I hope everyone else can hear me loud and clear. So health and time, that's the two most important things I'm getting. All right. Thank you, Lata ma'am. I can see your annotation, health, right? Healthy, wealthy. Is that what we said? Okay. Thank you, Sumaya ma'am. So Wi-Fi comes, but not so early. So, my life depends on Wi-Fi. I mean, what am I going with all the time and health I've got if my Wi-Fi is not working? Of course, I am pushing you to give me Wi-Fi as an answer, but all right. So you understand, despite the life online, it's our health that we cannot compromise on. It's the time, or rather the paucity of time, that is so important. I'll keep asking you some questions on health and time as we go ahead. But before we go in, let me start with my first speaker and panelist for the day, Pragati Sharma ma'am, the founder and CEO of EdMonger Consulting India. She is an educational technology mentor, an instructional coach, a certified child psychologist, a parent coach. She is someone who's been traveling across, speaking to people, including webinars and sessions with people across the world. Special one mentioned in Nigeria, very passionate about social justice, adult learning, and organizational development. Pragati ma'am, how long is your resume? Welcome again, and go ahead. It was wonderful to have you. Why don't we hear from you? What do you mean by creativity in education?
Thank you so much, Mr. Vaid, and now and thank you for such humble, introduction. I'm totally very humble honored to hear this. When we talk about creativity, if I really want to talk about creativity, since I've been into K-12 sector from a long time, what people misinterpret about creativity, that I would want to address first is they always think about creativity that they have to do something out of the box, and they have to do, it's like they have to do a cherry on the top. Creativity is when they teach, when they do anything, they feel that they have to take an extra step to be creative. it is not accepted as an essential part of doing something. So if I want to define creativity, it's like creating anything. It's not something you have to do or walk extra mile. It's just that whatever you have today, out of that, with that knowledge, what can you create? That is what is creativity according to me. Especially if I want to talk about education, people connect with creativity most of the time with colors, sketches. They will say writers, painters. They will never say that an engineer can be creative, or they will never say that somebody who is just writers are all किसी ने एक छोटा सा, I'm sorry, if somebody is writing a poem, they will say that, oh, that person is very creative. But if somebody has written an answer beautifully, we will always forget to say that how beautifully the person has presented the answer. So creativity shouldn't be defined, I believe, in some words or maybe with some kind of I would say task or vocations. It is beyond this. And creativity is not just with the 2-3 things we are doing that we can call it creative. You can be creative even when you're singing, dancing.
Oh,
You can be creative
absolutely.
even when you're talking. I'm just saying how
Exactly.
creatively you talk. Somebody must have thought about I will say comic shows. Somebody must have talked about stand up comedy. That has become a creative job these days. That okay, you are very creative, you can become a gossip monger. So why don't you go to stage and become someone like that? And now people have started addressing stand-up comedians as creative people. Earlier, people who used to gossip a lot, they will just say, oh, ye to gossip monger hai.
There's
so
no use,
this is
right?
what so this is what exactly is creative. What you have, you know that, and what you can add on is creativity according to me.
Wow. Thank you so much, Pragati, ma'am. I mean, you put a very, very beautiful take on this creativity, and I would be so glad the fact that you address that it's not just the poets and the artists and the writers who are creative. I wish my wife listens to this. I'll record this play. Engineers are creative. I'm repeating, being an engineer. Thank you so much, ma'am. So are the lawyers, and definitely so are the teachers. Educators are creative. I love the way you put a thing on. It's not just crayons and colors. It could be even words and stand-ups, and that is what creativity is. Oh, by the way, chefs and all of you out there, yes, mothers out there and good chefs out there. Oh, I have my lockdown chef. I'll come to you, Kusuma. I'm sorry, I can't help you, but pull your leg. But you are creative as well with whatever you do. Lovely take. It has taken the whole program on the right note what creativity is. That's Pragati Sharma, ma'am. Let me also introduce my second guest and take the same question to her. Anis Fatima, all the way from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, was certified UGC-NET leadership and lectureship person. She has a TESOL 220 hours that she has done. She is a certified trainer with SCEI. These are acronyms, but some amazing work that she's doing across the world with INTESOL Worldwide UK. The expertise and experience she brings working in the corporate field, delivering lectures on soft skills, communications, on development, English journal, IELTS, or she's have a huge experience in training and teaching peers. Anis, ma'am, thank you so much for being part of the show. And yes, are you creative? And what does creativity mean to you?
Thank you very much, all of you, for having me on board. And let me thank you, Mr. Vaid, for giving us such a good introduction of me. I'm really honored. And creativity, as Ma'am Pragati has already defined and said a few words about it, I totally agree with her. And creativity is something that you cannot define or put in words in just, in 3-4 words, or a definition that we have always with different concepts. But basically, creativity is a very wide term. It is you can say creativity is anything that you bring in new, any novel idea that you bring in, anything that is unique, that is different from the others. That is creativity. Now, we always hear about creativity, thinking outside the box. And we usually, whenever we get the word creativity, we usually hear the term thinking outside the box. So now many of the common people out there, they really don't understand what is this going outside the box means. The box, you can take it as the constraints that we have today, the syllabus that we have today, the curriculums that we have today, all that the knowledge that we possess today, that is our box. And what is creativity? It is moving outside the box, thinking outside the box. What can we think apart from what we have now? So creativity, apart from being developing something new, something novel, extraordinary, apart from that, it also taps on the concepts of today, improvising and improving the concepts that we have today. So it is a continuation of the knowledge that we have today. Using those knowledge and those concepts, we move ahead to be creative. If it was not for creativity, we would not have had our Darwins and our Einsteins and our Graham Bells, no one. And to be very frank, without creativity, we would not have been connected today this way. So thanks to the creative mind that we are here today, connecting with each other, exchanging knowledge. So creativity falls beyond our imagination. We just cannot talk about it in an hour or so. And definitely we have to bring in this creativity in our schooling. So that's
Oh
how
my
I would
goodness.
pass it
No,
to the
I
panelists.
think you all are putting so amazing answers. One word that I really forgot to add, a scientist. And there you are, the Darwins and the Da Vinci's and the Alexander
That's right.
Graham Bells. I can hear from a corporate trainer these amazing words, Anis ma'am. Absolutely. You use a beautiful word that, think outside the box. I've learned that in creativity, think there is no box at all. Why are you still? And of course, we are looking in front of this laptops and mobile phones as small boxes, but we've gone beyond it. We are virtually handshaking with each other. And thank you so much for putting that lovely spin on creativity, that without creativity, perhaps we would not have been here. Well, that's wonderful work. So thank you so much, Anis ma'am, for that lovely insight on what creativity is. And my third panelist and speaker, all the way from Taipei, is Anne Liao. Anne Liao, thank you so much. She is, and all of them, by the way, I've not met in any one of them in person, which I love to now. I'm sure I'm getting invitations to all your places with some great, great parties going on. Anne is a social entrepreneur, an educator, consultant, and a public speaker. She actually is a bridge between academia, design, business, and green technology. And I love to hear more about the green technology, about the work that you do. She is working on SDGs, on sustainable city, future of food, design education, fashion innovation. Wonderful. You got competition, Kusum ma'am. There's someone doing a lot of work. Open source area, data of interest, exceptional learning, social learning, and welcome so much. Before even I ask Anne about creativity in what she does, and you are someone who's raised up in 6 different countries, from South Africa, United States, Holland, Australia. What do you define yourself as? A global citizen? Welcome, Anne, and how do you define yourself, a creative person? Could you unmute and please speak up?
Hi, sorry. Now, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, so I grew up, I'm Taiwanese, I was born here in Taiwan, but at 9 months old, I left to South Africa. My grandmother was investing in properties over there. And then after about 10 years, I moved to United States. My dad is a physics and mathematics research professor. And then he moved from United States to Holland. I came to Taiwan for a year in international school. And then I went to Australia, in Melbourne, and then Taiwan, and then South Korea. And my university was in Australia and Germany, Melbourne and Germany, Mainz. So my take on creativity, I think creativity sometimes is very vague for people because it seems like something very, in the more commonplace when we think of creativity, it's usually reserved for artists, designers, but mostly artists, I would say. People automatically think artists are creative, but I disagree with that, actually. I think creativity is really a perspective. So creativity, like we mentioned beforehand with the previous 2 speakers, is that, it's really about the person, how the mind works more than the occupation. What I find is that, there are doctors, lawyers, engineers, right? Entrepreneurs, in all this realm, there are creative thinkers. And how I define creativity is really looking at, intersections of different possibilities and figuring out how do we combine resources to develop innovation. And the way that the different fields that I work in, at first people thought, how can you, as someone who studied communication design, go into green technology or sustainability? How is that connected, right? And I started teaching design thinking, and I think people forget that it's how my mind works that allows me to kind of integrate myself in different fields and connecting with these people. So I would say in a nutshell, what I'm trying to say is, I think it's about how you see the world. And the closest people that I would think to, you know, a lot of creativity are people like Elon Musk, right? Renaissance people who seem to merge like art, right? Humanities, academia, business, technology, how they merge all these things together. And I think that is really what thinking outside the box is. All the resources are there. We just need to know and see how to navigate these things and connect them to people.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Anne. And what you just mentioned about combining a lot of things. So creativity is not just one ingredient. It's like your recipe that you make for pizzas. You know, you need toppings and you need bases and you need cheese and you need, you know, jalapenos and olives. And I'm already hungry, by the way. So I think what you just mentioned is that is what creativity is. All of you now, the panelists I'm addressing you together, is last year has been tough. You know, tough in terms of people we've lost, tough in terms of the disease that has spread, tough in terms of people who've not traveled and the work from home. Yet there was some kind of new renaissance, the word you use, and in terms of education. We all came online, we started meeting each other. So how would you say, was the education better since COVID happened? Did we become more transparent or more creative? How would my panelists address that? Anis ma'am, Pragati ma'am, and do you think 2020 was a new turning point in education? Anis ma'am, would you like to go first?
Yeah, definitely. 2020 with the pandemic into picture, definitely the educational pattern changed. All of a sudden, we were brought out from the physical classrooms into our digital classrooms. So we were no more live with our students, sitting and standing in front of them and teaching them. So basically, we moved into a virtual world. We were no more physically present with our children. So there were many challenges that we faced because of this. And one positive point is we really became tech savvy. Actually, I wasn't so tech savvy earlier, but now with the online educational system, I've really become tech savvy. And I feel we have actually moved towards a better, arena. For the reason that when we were offline and we had these physical classes, now the students did not have much choice of education systems. The geographic, the schools and colleges that would fall within their geographic location, in the vicinity of their house, that was the only option available to them. But now with the online teaching coming into practice and almost all of the universities and schools, educational institutes going into the online teaching platform, so these geographic borders are broken right now. So now, I stay in Mumbai, and earlier I just had the choice of probably in my locality, I would search for a school for my kids. But now with the global learning coming into fashion, I can even think of, educating my kids somewhere in Delhi, some college in Delhi or some school in Delhi, and even UK and USA. So you see, these geographic barriers have opened, and we are now, we are now more. We can think that we are having better educational system right now, better resources of teachers, and I feel definitely technology has added a lot in the field of education. There are definitely the disadvantages associated with it, but if I weigh them, I feel this outsmarts the advantages, outsmart the disadvantages. So
outsmart the disadvantage, Anis ma'am says. Very nice. Pragati ma'am, do you think the same way your co-panelist thinks about education, technology, and the world that we live in?
Absolutely, absolutely. Miss Fatima has actually addressed it correctly, that it has broken that geographical barrier which we had earlier. And I would like to answer from the first thing. Was COVID, the COVID year was challenging. Initially, we were not ready to accept technology. If I just because I have been a consultant for so many years, I know what are the challenges teachers generally face when you go to a school and tell them that we can do this with technology. The moment you tell them a solution, it's like, how are we going to do? School doesn't have Wi-Fi, or maybe have a Wi-Fi with poor connectivity, or maybe they will just say that, okay, now we have Wi-Fi, or we can do it at home, these things. So there was a mental barrier. People were not accepting it openly, that yes, it will make their lives easy. But now we were forced, when COVID came, we were forced to switch from normal to technology, and then suddenly they found that, oh my god, what were we missing?
Yes.
It was lot of resources in your hand, just a click away. On Google, you are just teaching geography, and then just Google Earth is one click away. You can just immediately show the children the places you want. And it's with the help of technology, children are more engaged, I would say.
Right.
And
I love
because
the
it
word.
was the
Yes.
first time we were doing everything online, yes, it has taken some time for the children also to accept, for the teachers also to accept, for them also to understand, I would say. But 2021 will be a smooth sailing for
Okay. So
technology, I would say.
Pragati ma'am is
And
like
next
very
time,
sure we've become technology savvy now, and we are ready for 21. Okay.
we are
So
ready for 21. Yes, because NEP has come, there will be more
yes.
changes, we will be expected to do more, and do things differently. That is another challenge which we will accept gradually, I would say. But
Right.
yes,
Right.
somehow I feel that acceptance has come, which was needed. The first step was needed, and COVID pushed us to take that first step. So
Wonderful. I love
technology
the way.
has
Yes.
has anyhow empowered us, empowered our classrooms. The people who were not accepting, they have accepted it, and
Yes.
now we have everything one click away. The only thing what I am waiting is 5G now.
Okay,
So
all
that,
right. So let's compete. Let's see if Gurgaon gets 5G before Mumbai, but we'll talk about that later. But thank you so much.
yes,
What you really emphasized, Pragati ma'am, is this was the year that pushed us to learn something new, and we have learned something new. Thank you, Lata ma'am. I'm reading your comments as well, and she actually agrees with both of you. And quickly bringing you in the picture before I have some very interesting question. Hold on, Kusum ma'am, do not go anywhere. I have something to ask you. But Southeast Asia has always been at the forefront of technology. It could be Taiwan, it could be Singapore, it could be even Malaysia and the rest of the places. How have you seen the changes in education with the COVID situation? What are your take? Did we become
Mm,
better?
yes, I would agree with all the points about, sometimes because you don't have a choice, so it pushes you to open up your perspective, right? A lot
Right.
of them are always just mind barriers. Me personally, I teach in a institute in Taipei, like physically, and universities. And I think what was really great is that education doesn't stop. So I'll give an example. Usually, if you're sick and you call in, you're sick, you can't go. Maybe the kids don't get the education for a day, right? Because you can't say, "Oh, I'll check in through Zoom or Google Hangouts." But now, sometimes you are sick, maybe because of some health issues or something, but you can still teach online. Basically, education doesn't break. So what I found, it was very beneficial for educators, because sometimes you do need a recharge, right? A lot of your energy is usually drained from a lot of questions, but because it's on the internet, you can take a step back, think about it, come back with better answers. And so I think what the COVID has done is that it has allowed everybody to go on the same plane. It has allowed educators space and mental support to carry on their work. So I think in that sense, it's been really beneficial. On top of everything else, access to internet allows you to then gain access to more information, and teaching as well, how to research. I think that's really a key component, really guiding students along how you actually look for information, what there is on the internet, instead of being afraid of technology, because we're just advancing. There's no point of being afraid, because that's just where it's going. Understand the language of technology, and that's really what's going to help everybody.
Well, thank you so much. And that's wonderful the way you spoke about it. The mental courage that we drew. The technology is not the Goliath that we're making, not the monster that we're making. We could face it, and perhaps that's what we did. All right, before I come to more serious questions on education and the world around, how has COVID made you into a better fashion sense? Unfortunately, this is the only shirt I wear for all my Zoom seminars. I have not worn my formal shoes in the last 1 year because of the stickers and t-shirts. So I'm addressing teachers and the females out there. Have you become better in your fashion sense? All right. So that's why I put Kusum ma'am. Kusum ma'am, what do you think? Your fashion sense improved? Is the creativity in fashion become better online? Or are you still wearing one pair of sneakers?
No. So I keep changing. Of course, my shirts. I have my jewelry, which is of course changed. instead of having my long necklaces, now it's become a little shorter because I have to, depending upon the camera length and things like that. And yes, colors do matter. And for me, because I'm a, I do a lot of skilling, and I do training where, we are talking about the dress sense and the colors that, you can change your mood according to your colors, and, how, and what we do online. So that is very much a part of, some of the trainings that I do as well. And yes, it does make a difference. I mean, lighting makes a difference, and what you wear makes a difference. And most of all, it's your attitude, it's your smile, it's your presence, and that 90 mm screen, you can say it, you can make it 30 mm, you can make it 60 mm, you can make it 90 mm. So I
How
would say
large it
yes.
becomes. Wonderful. This is so the most well-dressed educator award goes to Kusum Kanwar. So let's all applause for her. She does make a difference, right? It is so important, isn't it? It's not just how you speak. Your students want to see you. Anis ma'am, I mean, I see all of you with so amazing personalities, so powerful personalities. Has Zoom changed the way you appear yourself? You look at it, please. My panelists, it's a real question. I'm opening up to. So, Pragati, just go ahead. Anyone want to add to it?
You mean appearance, like
Yes,
fashion sense?
appearance. Yeah, exactly. Your students just look forward to you, right? They want to see your cameras on. They want to talk to you. Is that creativity as well?
Yes.
I mean, yeah,
You want to
please.
go on? You want to go ahead? You can go ahead.
So go.
I'll
Either
do
way.
I was just
Okay.
explaining how I think, yes, definitely how you dress, how you present yourself has always been part of creativity, right? It represents a part of your personality. But I think the other part that I really enjoy is comfort that allows more creativity, right? It's like that saying where when you think less about how you have to look, you can actually put in more investment in what you're talking about or what you're thinking. So a great thing about Zoom is that only half of your body is on Zoom, because I don't have to think about matching my shoes with my pants. I just have to think about my upper body, and nobody will know. Oh no, I heard this kid
No, it's okay.
screaming.
Some kid says, no, I want you to completely well dressed. So it's okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but I don't get to show that on screen, You just get to see this, and this is good. I'm good.
Wonderful. I
So
think Annie put out something very interesting, and what Kusum and that lightning makes a difference. I mean, creativity is not one ingredient. Would you agree, Anis ma'am? You were saying something before I go to Pragati ma'am?
No, I was just, saying that, yes, Kusum ma'am said it right, that we have to have our fashion sense indeed, because, our children look forward to us, our students, irrespective of the age. Like when I teach the university students, and once in a while when I'm not well dressed and probably my makeup is not up to the mark, so they ask me, are you feeling well, ma'am? And then, this my mood of being a little sick, being a little lazy passes on to my students. So, I have to always be jolly, and I have to keep my makeup up to my full level, so that, even my students become active with my makeup and my dressing. So the only thing is that my makeup remains the same, my scarves change, my shirt and my jackets change. The only thing is that now I'm sitting barefoot. That's the only difference I feel.
All right. These are really candid conversations, but very honest and real ones that you have to be creative. You put an effort. And Tanzim, ma'am, thank you so much all this from Dubai. The creativity by dressing up our lessons. So the characters of story, yes, absolutely. So, consider me the big bad wolf. That's how I'm my character. I'm always like that, right? So, Pragati, ma'am, do you agree? Creativity, I can see a lovely library background that you've got. And I think that was on a very trending technology on hashtag on Twitter with the bookshelf one. So there you are, Pragati, ma'am.
I absolutely love, as and I've said, that total comfort zone. Yes, absolutely happy with my comfort zone. Okay, even I can have a cup of tea while putting my camera off for a few seconds, and so I enjoy even on Zoom. The only thing which I miss, word connecting virtually, is eye to eye contact. If I really want to talk to someone, I really have to say that I'm talking to you. But when you're speaking in a physical place, you can easily connect with anyone, eye to eye contact, and general connectivity which comes immediately when you go to a place comes in Zoom. I miss that, but yes, I enjoy that comfort zone. Still, people are making Zoom meetings amazingly creative. Like, I really like the way you ask questions to the audience, that how they will place their health, time, Wi-Fi. So all these questions, they're quite good, and we are enjoying the Zoom meetings as well.
Thank you so much, Pragati ma'am. And I agree with you. So I'll go back to my panelists where you are being very candid. And let me take this question to the audience where we said Zoom as, creativity has many elements. Sometimes I love the way you started, Pragati ma'am, saying it's not just colors and vibrancy. It is also how you dress, how you present, the lighting that you mentioned about. Also, did they become more functional because of the online classes? I think, hold on, Vaishali ma'am, right? Does this also be part of it? Because sometimes you see, you want to watch a movie and the movie is too dragged, you start getting bored. I think the Zooms and the Google Meets have made sure that we start on time, we end on time. Has that also affected a lot of creativity? Maybe I can open that forum to the participants right now. They've been very, very participating. Here's a question for you on creativity. Why do you think the wristwatches and the clocks and advertisements always show 10:10? There's something to do with creativity quite common. Oh yeah, I get a little excited. Go ahead, go ahead. I like that. Go ahead. Tell me the answer.
Positive mode. It's smiling.
It's smiling. Oh, I did not know that. That's wonderful. So there is a little child who tells me it's a positive mood. It's smiling. Right. So thank you so much. I was looking forward to that. Back to my panelists, right? Thank you, my little friend, where you said that it has become positive. How much of positivity is important to make our programs creative? To my panelists. So I've taken two concepts, and that my little friend told me that is time is very important to make a lesson creative. So you all are public speakers, you all have taken sessions, you all have done it. Is it the same thing that you do online, that you do offline, or did you change something about your classes? Would you like to go, Anne? Anis ma'am, would you first?
Yes.
Yeah, please.
You are asking me about, can you please repeat your question?
Okay, so the 2-3 elements that I added into this particular session, where we said, number one was time. How did your online classes become better with time? Where you become more savvy, that you have to only have 40 minutes and you have to complete everything within that time, number one. Number two, how much of positivity is required to make a class creative? You are far distant, your students are away from you, you can't hold them, you can't play with them. So these are the two elements of making a class creative.
Yeah, the thing is that as far as the time is concerned, earlier when the Zoom came into existence, and earlier when we logged into the Zoom, we had the time constraint of 40 minutes. So it was like by hook or crook, we have to finish our class within 40 minutes. There were certain other platforms in my international schooling experience wherein I had their private platforms and there was no time constraint. So, I used to talk endlessly and teach my students. As long as they're comfortable, they've got the concept. But with the Zoom, the different education institutes, most of them use Zoom. And in Zoom, we did not have that. We had to finish it in 40 minutes, the syllabus that we have planned. So we had to inculcate, creativity as well as we need to finish our syllabus. So that was a little tight earlier, but now I believe Zoom has removed this constraint of 40 minutes. So it is very nice for us to, impart education. Now, coming to creativity, definitely bringing in creativity was easier when we were in the physical classrooms. For the simple thing was the students would understand us with just 1 or 2 sentences. Even when we acknowledged the students, a small smile was enough for them. They would get the message that, yes, my ma'am is happy with me. But now what I've found is with the online learning, we have to increase with our acknowledgements towards the students. So when I smile, I literally have to go, yes, I'm smiling. See, I'm so happy. And I have to use many more adjectives like great, good job, you're doing it. And the difference that I found is I need to motivate them more, still more than what I used to do in the classroom. So off and on, every 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I motivate them. I tell them, yes, you're doing a good job. Great, that is really very nice. So this is the difference, we have to make our virtual classes more lively, far more lively than we went in the classroom. And apart from that, the main point I think is that in order to make our students creative, we have to let them take risks. We have to make them understand that it's okay to be wrong sometimes, because the stereotype of education that we have been following and the society that is with us, it tells us always that taking risks is wrong, taking risks is dangerous, and this is our mindset. So we have to remove this mindset from our students, the young generation, that yes, It is okay to take risk once in a while. It is okay to go out of the borders, out of the domains. It is okay if you're wrong. It doesn't matter at all. You will learn from your mistakes. Go ahead, think, go ahead, use your imagination. So this is the motto that we have to bring in our classrooms to make it creative. Yes, think ahead. It is okay being wrong. That is the thing that
Wonderful.
is missing in our classrooms.
Yes.
So I
Anisha,
guess
I think,
we need to incorporate it.
yes. Yes. One thing I really derived from what you said is anyone who thought that online classes are easier, you dispel the myth. You put in more effort in online class. Trust me, the kind of the kind of effort and the teachers preparedness, okay, right, background that you work on is huge in an online class. And thank you for putting that. If you dispel the kind of notions and cobwebs we have, oh, online I can just come in a pajamas. I can still come in a pajamas, but I still need to have a big space and make sure the students are engaged. And would you agree to that? That online classes are more tougher than the offline classes, the kind of preparation you need to make
Could you
online?
repeat that? Sorry.
The online classes to make them more engaging is more tougher. And any specific thing you've done to make your online classes more interesting and more creative?
Mm-hmm. I think it's depending on age, like what students we're teaching in terms of age. So right now, most of my students are high school and university students, and they're all quite independent. So I felt that in terms of online lessons, what has been more interesting is that during that set of time, for example, when you started this talk, you asked us a question to participate, right? And we can't just leave the screen. I mean, like, this is the same with our students, right? Sometimes in class, you're on their phones in the corner, they're not responding, they're not listening. But in a way, it's if you have direct questions or if you have direct presentations, they are kind of, in a way, forced to look at them. And if you make the presentations really engaging and interesting with some videos, with some sound, naturally they are more likely gonna follow along in your online classes. That's what I find, because I think offline access to mobiles and computers is so easy now that it becomes quite a big distraction, or they're playing some video games. But if they're on Zoom, they kind of have to be there for the lesson, and
Right.
you'll get to see if their cameras are on that they're not paying attention. So in that sense, it's created more connection, I would say, with my students.
This is wonderful. So I love the fact that as a teacher, you need to be more extra vigilant that students are not zooming elsewhere and not, watching a YouTube video while you're teaching. So constant reminders and questions are so important. Pragati ma'am, the same thing applies, I think, as we talked to almost the last part of what we're talking about.
I'm sorry,
Yes.
I'm not able to hear you.
Okay, Pragati ma'am, if I repeat what I'm asking, in fact, I'm taking one of the comments from the participants, Tanzeem ma'am. You're not only teaching one student, you're actually teaching an entire family. The speakers are on, when you're asking a question, has it become better in terms of education, the online classes?
See, this question, the answer for this question depends on person to person. We cannot just say that it is good for one, it is good or it is bad, because if I sit at home and I'm sitting with my child, I'm taking full responsibility of my child's online education. But
Right.
if some other parent is not sitting with the child and the child is getting distracted in between and switching from one screen to other screen, that's again, children to children, parents to parents, family to family. We cannot really say that this is good or bad. Yes, but teachers have to be prepared. I will say teachers have to be prepared more, because they are on a constant monitoring, I would say. It's like a camera is there which is looking not just them through Zoom, but also somebody is watching you, somebody is just commenting that you have not asked question from my, because I have heard teachers complaining, saying that the parent called up the principal or whatever XYZ leadership team, saying that my child was not addressed in the Zoom class. My
Right.
child is not getting proper attention. But when we were sitting in a physical classroom, in a group, I can, in just 1 minute, I can give feedback, or say 2 minutes, I can easily give individual feedback. But in a Zoom class, I have to tell them, they will switch on the mic, then I have to again ask, okay, you have to give this answer, or you have to reply on this, that. So it's little, tiresome, I would say, and cumbersome situation. Right now we are sitting with 70 people, so I may address 70 people in just by saying, it's like a monologue. If I'm speaking, they can listen to me, but out of 70 people, if two people are not responding, it becomes a little difficult for me to find out who is not responding or who's
Yeah.
not listening. So especially with the younger kids, yes, younger kids, it is a difficult task. But yes, what I personally feel, that we have to now train them morally, that it is now parents and teachers responsibility to go hand in hand and make children responsible for their own learning. Now this year we would, I think, take a lot of sessions with teachers, and how to exactly make children responsible for their own learning from their childhood. And when I'm saying childhood, I would address primary to 12th class.
Okay, wonderful. So I think this is made all of us very responsible. As a child, I was always responsible for everything going wrong in my home. Now I'm even more responsible in making sure the schools do well. But very interestingly, Pragati ma'am, what you just mentioned, that it is not just the onus only on the educators. It's everyone across. Let me take to maybe the last question perhaps of the day, and I always believe that people are spending time to listen
I
and
think Miss
answer.
Kusum wants to say something.
Yes, Kusum
Yeah.
ma'am, I will
So
pull ma'am in,
yes,
and please go ahead.
yeah.
I think that
All
you
right.
can go
Thank you
ahead.
so much. Yeah. So I was seeing. I mean, I heard and heard Anis and I heard Pragati, and there is so it's so wonderful. I mean, the kind of ideas that are getting generated. So for me, because I represent the preschools sector more so now. So I would like to say that it's not all about learning here. It's not academic nurturing that we, because for everyone, right, from parents to teachers to to even children. So this whole year has been you can see experimental and experiential. So inviting creativity for us, or I've always told my schools and my teachers that it is providing the opportunity for creativity. It has to be as easy as allowing children to draw with crayons on a blank paper, to bang a pot with a wooden spoon, in time to music, to build an inviting reading area. We did with blankets, we did cushions, or to just hop and bob to a favorite children's recording. And it's very very common in our school where children are sharing the recordings. If they've gone on a holiday, we just put it up. We are celebrating their birthdays. It's become much more colorful, you can say, because there are lots more teachers sitting there, and they're helping each child. So it is I think life has become more colorful, and we need to do it. We can't make it boring for children, because learning has now gone on for 10 months, 10 and 11 months for us. We started exactly on March 24th, and it's just 1 month left to a year, and we did this. And it's for us as teachers and parents. We need to help creativity take hold. So when a child is presenting us with a drawing and says, look what I made, so we are asking them to respond by saying, so tell me about more about your drawing, or asking what do you like about your drawing. And so these open-ended responses let the child evaluate his own creativity while initiating a conversation about the work at hand. And there is one question here when they're asking about this
Assessment.
Tanzim asked how you make your assessments creative, and this is how we make it creative. We are asking open-ended questions, and we are letting them play with pots and pans and getting into corners, and also having one stick that can be turned into a sword if need be. So those are the kind of things that need to be done online, and specifically at this point in time. So thanks. I can
Wonderful.
go on and on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just stop.
No, no, no. I think I can go on and listen to you all day long because you have so many valid points. Some you all of you actually are someone who has done it. It's no more theorizing or evangelizing because You are actually in the midst of these classes. You make your class interesting. Your students, your teachers are listening to you. But that is what I love to hear from all of you. Let me come to the last section now. And I think probably, as I always say, a good class, a good creativity session has to be having wings of time. I think this is something I really enjoy. Those who know me know that I love putting people, like even the people I don't know about now. So Pragati ma'am, you can keep your camera and your microphone on. There are some 5 or 6 questions coming across your way, Anis ma'am and Pragati. Please be prepared. These are creative questions. So let's make our class interesting. And then we probably will have one final closing statement for all of you. All right. If you had a choice, my panelists, all of you, anyone can answer, right? To work for any one of these organizations, which one would it be and why? Let's quickly do that. It is Apple Computers, the great Apple iPhone company, Manchester United, the great football company, or United Nations. Go ahead and tell me if you had a choice, and that's how we make our classes and lessons interesting. Which one and why? Apple, Manchester United, or United Nations? Anish ma'am already has an answer, please.
I would go for Apple. So the reason that Apple is always into innovation. It's always into development. So Apple is the place where I feel my creative thinking would definitely, benefit. And I would benefit from their technology because it's always updating. So in the changing world, since we don't know, since the world is changing, we cannot be prepared for the future because it's always changing. And Apple is a company that is always taking change into consideration. So before the change comes, the Apple is with the gadget.
So that's an iPhone, right? Golden Sparrow should be an iPhone. All the organizers, they are my friends. They are wonderful. And what company would you choose?
All fans of Apple, I believe.
And the late Steve
Jobs. I would go in for Apple.
Okay. And would it be Apple, Manchester, or is it United Nations?
I would be United Nations.
All right.
And the reason for my take for United Nations is because I think there's a lot of potential for growth and innovation, and that's where the creativity will happen. Because with these organizations, right, there's a lot of restriction, and I know that in restriction, it's a great place to breed creativity because you have limited resources. So I have to work extra hard on formulating new ideas. And I think it's going to spark a lot of conversation and dialogue and learning within myself. So I think that it's probably going to be quite fueling for my self-growth.
I like that. And being an SDG activist myself, I completely endorse United Nations. Has a lot of things to offer to the world. A lot of work that has to be done in United Nations that we need to endorse. I like your answer. Pragati ma'am, where would you choose? You have 3 companies to choose from. Which one would you be?
I will also go with Anna, that United Nations, because if we just look at the structure which was years back, and if we now compare what is today, there's a lot of scope and there's a lot of creativity. There's a lot more involved when it's a dynamic system, I would say. Okay. So I believe, yes, United Nations would be my answer. And I'm sorry, Manchester, I would not go because I am not very big fan of football, not to offend, and I don't know much about it. So it was a very clear-cut answer for me. United Nations would be the answer.
And don't worry, Kusum, we've got a football fan. How can I not have a football fan? Why would Manchester be on your list, Kusum, ma'am? Please unmute and speak up.
So it's all about experiential learning, right? It's all about going out there and playing in the field and learning, real life skills. And children love that. Yeah. Sorry. So was I saying something? So I think it is all about children enjoying themselves and learning these skills. So you learn everything on a football ground,
Okay. So I think no wonder teenagers love your classes, because football is the most de facto one. All right, very quickly, a very prejudiced question. I'm sorry, I'm asking you, ladies. Who make up better teachers? Gender equality, goal number 5, SDG 5 says gender equality. Who make up better teachers, men or women? Pragati ma'am, what would you think? And why? I need the answer why.
I was actually thinking it's a diplomatic question for me. What exactly do I answer for this? Because I have seen male teachers getting involved with kids better than female teachers.
I'm patting myself. Thank you so much.
And so I would say it depends on their passion. If they're passionate, they're happy around kids, anyone can make a better teacher. Anyone.
Wonderful. Okay, before I come into Christina, thank you so much. I would love my colleague Christina to speak up. She said humans make better teachers, probably not robots. And I like that what she's saying about in that. And I've got a lot of women-centric answers coming in. Anish ma'am, who makes the better teachers, men or women?
I believe women, because it is in our genes. We are the ones who have motherhood in us. So I believe women, because we understand children from their birth. And
I
then
learned
when
from
we
my wife
understand,
not to argue with a women answer, so I cannot argue with that. Yeah, Kushal ma'am
yeah,
said they are
no,
mutual.
it's just in our nature. We are into motherhood. We understand our children. We understand our students equally better. And men, I don't think so they can compete in this. The caring that we have show towards children, the emotions that we share with them. This is something that comes from us since our birth, and when we give birth to children. And I don't think so this particular emotion men can share, and then they can take care of the children as good as us. I strictly believe that.
I think we are only losing 2-1. And would you like to say something about it? Men or women, who makes a better teacher?
Actually, because I was looking for something to share with you guys. I would say it's less about the gender, man or woman. I would say it's the feminine quality. So what I mean by that is the empathy. Empathetic person is the greatest teacher. Being able to put yourself in the footsteps of another. So for me, it's definitely less about the outside, what we have, but more of the empathy inside. And something from actually China that I think is really worth noting is there's this dad in China who has I think it's a 3 or 4-year-old daughter, and he creates learning games out of cardboard boxes. And I'm not sure if you guys have seen this before.
Yes, right.
Maybe, yes. It's let me turn off the sound, but see, this is a great thing about Zoom, we can just share. But this,
let me put your spotlight on. And
you guys see this?
I will send
it's all made from cardboard. Yeah. And he's made, I think, 200 or something games. And I just think that, pardon?
Yeah, no. So already you mentioned dad, so I think men are better teachers, and so I'm getting.
I think that feminine qualities, because he's very nurturing.
No arguing with women out there. So I think that's wonderful. So Pragati ma'am, that was a diplomatic answer that perhaps you were looking for, right? Empathetic answers. Thank you so much. Right, Christina ma'am, you give a vote to me. Wonderful there. I've got 2 more questions before I go ahead. If you could add on one new subject to the kind of classes we are doing, what subject would that be? Any new subject. So all of you, all 4 of you right there. Yes, Malika ma'am, you agree creativity is important. Wonderful. So any new subject, Anish ma'am, what subject would you introduce into the school, into the curriculum?
Well, I would, I would just ask my management to add 1 class every week in which it is not directed towards any subject in particular, but directed towards, increasing the creativity and the thinking skills of the students to open their imagination. So for instance, just open, probably I might have a session with just open-ended questions, and I ask them, how can you do it? What can we do with this, instead of giving them curriculum? And some other session in which I would just give them, some assessments, like some activity, like I would just give them 4 squares and 3 triangles and 2 circles, and I would ask them to draw. And
a lot of puzzles and a lot of creativity.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of creativity. You will be amazed to see that no 2 students would have the same structure with them. So the question that you're given them is only one, but the output that you get is so many, multiple outputs. So
that's wonderful.
I would students that see, I have given you one question, but you have come up with so many answers. So this is creativity. And then I would be in a better position to explain them what creativity is and how they should go about with creativity. And I might have another session in which I might give them a syllabus that we have already studied. And then I would ask them, how would you make it better? Suppose we are talking about controlling pollution, and they have already gone through the subject matter of different measures to control pollution. Now I would take a class and I would just dedicate it to ask them, what do you think you can do from your end, apart from the measures that I've already taught
like
you?
Critical thinking and life skills. That's wonderful. In fact, I get Rabia ma'am says soft skills, Sanjeev ma'am says well-being. what would the subject be from the other panelists? And Pragati ma'am, System ma'am, what would you say?
So,
Yep.
when I was in school, what I missed the most was talking time, and somebody has written also in the chat section. Talking time was one thing which I always have missed. What we girls would do is go to the washroom, take a break, and then talk there for 5-10 minutes, and then come late to the class. So I personally believe that there is a small example, and it's not mine, but yes, I have read it many years ago, and I really liked it. There's a thing called the Vincy Notebook. The Vincy Notebook is an idea where what you do is you give a notebook to each child, and give whenever the child is in the classroom, whenever the child gets distracted, whatever thought comes to the child's mind has to be written in the Vincy Notebook. By
Wow.
end of the month, what they will do is the Vincy Notebook will be full of different ideas and thoughts they had when they were distracted. And gradually, it is when they do it for the first time, they realize it that's very haywire, but gradually we can structure it in a beautiful way that it finally comes out as a very creative. Then you will get to know the personality of the child. Some children are very interested in doodling. Some children are very interested in talking about some other children or maybe something. So gossip mongers, or somebody is very much interested in talking about food, cricket, things like that. So the Vincy Notebook will help knowing the child's personality and interest, and then gradually it will create a ladder where
Wow.
they can then themselves can see that, okay, I am good in this particular thing, and now I'm rising, and they'll start channelizing their creativity.
Oh, that's
So
wonderful,
this is
Pragati
a
ma'am.
very beautiful idea about creativity which I had got from I mean years back I had got, but it is wonderful. So if we give one period something like this where it's just unstructured talking, or
Yeah.
maybe just speaking, not on a topic or something, we just give them, I will not say 40 minutes because 40 minutes will create a chaos in the school. So I will say 15 to 20 minutes where they're talking anything and writing it.
No, I agree with you. I think it's an amazing idea. Yes, 40 minutes is very less for girls. Boys would be okay with 40 minutes because we talk football and nothing else. But on that note, thank you so much. And what's your thought on adding a subject into the school?
I wrote it on the side chat. I said design thinking and entrepreneurship. I teach these
Wow.
in
Yes.
my own teachings. And I think it's so important for now because we live in such a uncertainty in the world that we need to feel some kind of stability. But I think instead of feeling stability on the more material world, it's more stability in our minds. When we have a vision, what I think about it is kind of like a northern star, right? When people talk about confidence, I think having the courage to pursue something, it's then when you draw in a lot of your critical thinking, creativity to reach that thing. And so entrepreneurship is a great combination of all those qualities like courage, able to persevere because you really want to see, that particular problem solved, especially if you teach the SDG goals, right? There's so many goals, but each student is different. So I think with entrepreneurship, we can tap into their critical thinking and their way to create an impact on the world. And from then, they're able to share something that is more complete. And then that then comes back to them as competence to keep on building what they want to see.
I love the answer. In fact, one of my favorite subject is SDG. And one of my teacher, Alfia, she's so loved by the students because the subject itself has so many variety SDG. And I love the way you put it from the notebook, from the creative classes to design thinking, and I think entrepreneurship, which runs in the blood of the students now. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, my panelists. I think you, with the time, I really did not realize we almost an hour of time now, and I could go on. I would love, to speak to all of you. In fact, you can direct your questions to me and I can pass on to them. Thank you so much for being so articulate, so wonderful, from telling your stories of, being barefoot to telling me about some new amazing ideas. One last question before I end the session. What's the future of e-education? I work in Hub School in Golden Sparrow, and we have taken the entire school online. Me and my colleagues, we decide that this is the future, perhaps not for everybody, but for a lot of them. where do you see the future of e-learning? Maybe the hybrid classes, few classes online and few offline. Each of the panelists can have the final closing remarks from all of you. Would you want to go first?
I feel that definitely e-schooling will go a long way now, because earlier parents and educational systems together, none of them had the much idea about how important, what were the good points in e-schooling and what were the advantages of e-schooling. We just had a traditional method of physical classes and we were contented with it. But now that we have opened to horizons, we have come to know that there are many markets to tap on in this e-schooling, and that we can reach out to better educational systems, and we can get greater resources with e-schooling. I believe the future of e-education is really going to go ahead a lot. It's not going to stop here. Even when we come back to our traditional method of teaching, with this, hopefully the COVID going away in say a 6 months time or 5 months time, God knows when, but I believe that still e-schooling will be into the the main stream right now. People will not go back to traditional. Definitely they will go back to the traditional method, but some part of e-schooling will always be imbibed and will be a part of their learning program. So even if the schools start online schooling, they will definitely have sessions of online education so that they can impart more knowledge. So, and as far as trainings are concerned, I believe the online trainings will go on because people have got the comfort, they've really enjoying the comfort of e-trainings. So I believe this has a lot of potential. So anyone having a business in, e-schooling, I believe definitely it will be a very profitable business for all of us if we go into tap the market right now.
That's so much. Abid sir, I'll just take the question. Perhaps we have a session on homeschooling next month, but Pragati ma'am, the same question on the final closing remarks from you. What's the future of e-education? Do you think schools will opt for that? Teachers can be anywhere in the world and teach?
See, earlier, the biggest problem or the biggest challenge for a teaching job was there was no work from home. Now we are doing everything work from home. So yes, that barrier has been removed. Now we are also in an industry where work from home is an option. And as Ms. Fatima has already addressed most of the things, I believe the challenge or the thing which we had in our country was education for all, and but we did not have the infrastructure. E-schooling will make that happen, and e-schooling will definitely, the children who are not, if I just want to pick an example, is a slum child may not afford a school, but I'm sure slum children also some or the other ways, if we provide them a simple mobile phone, the school will be just a click away. So schooling is now for everyone. The dream which we were having of the education for all is possible now. Earlier
Right.
we were
So
not able
beautifully,
to
yeah.
make it possible, but COVID has come up with great ideas, great initiations. I'm getting so many messages and contact from people where people are interested to go for the areas, rural areas where they're not able to reach earlier, through e-schooling only. So
Wonderful. I can see
that's the
comments.
beauty of the entire
Beautiful.
2020.
Tina and Zainab, thank you so much for agreeing with Pragati ma'am. And that's one my final closing remarks from all the way Taiwan. And what do you think is the future of e-learning?
I think, as Einstein said, creativity is intelligence having fun. And I think giving students, and any one of us, we're also students, the courage to pursue learning more is the key of education, unlocking. So because of this online new world, you can say, by, for example, providing some sort of a Wi-Fi or an old mobile phone to more children around the world, they're able to tap into a stronger online infrastructure. And whether that be, new companies like, I don't know if you have heard about this. This is a very big one these days. It's called Clubhouse. And Clubhouse is a new online social media platform that, Elon Musk is on as well. It's between kind of like a radio and Facebook, like social media, and you can listen to everything or information that's going around. And I think that's really what education is about. It's the flow of information and knowledge, right? And so what I see in the future is quite a bright future if we also protect the planet and we do what the SDG is there for, really to create a more holistic and a safer environment for, you know, educators and children and people big and small. And then, you know, anytime we want to learn, we can tap in and we can be more empathetic to one another. I think the world is going to be quite a bright place. So that's good. So that's my remark, is I'm quite hopeful for the future.
Absolutely. So wonderful, so bright, and so positive. That's where we end our session with. Thank you so much, everybody. All of you sticking with us for the whole hour. And my guest and panelist, Anis ma'am, was traveling, Pragati ma'am was not keeping well, and has a very different time zone than ours. But each one of you making it means a lot to me and all the team out there, Golden Sparrow, and everyone who heard. I hope you take a lot of lessons from the Vincy Notebook to the SDGs to adding on new creativity and puzzles. I take a lot of it from here. Thank you once again, folded hand, each and every one of you. Great work, great presentation, and all of you, you've brought in a lot of wealth of information. Thank you and bye-bye. And not mentioning Kusum ma'am would be injustice. Thank you so much, Kusum ma'am, for all the fun that you bring in, and Tandeem ma'am all the way. Thank you and bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.